Hello everyone, welcome to Agri Roots. Till now we have studied about apiculture and sericulture and now we will be studying about LAC culture. जैसे हम rearing of honeybees को apiculture कहते हैं, rearing of silkworms को sericulture कहते हैं, वैसे ही rearing of LAC insects for a valuable substance called as LAC is generally referred to as LAC culture. जो ये LAC होता है ये एक resinous secretion होता है of the rectal glands which is utilized in the making of various paints, dyes, varnishes and adhesives. ये generally biodegradable होता है इसलिए हम इसको eco friendly by product of insect भी कहते हैं. Generally जो ये LAC insect होता है it belongs to the family of Lacidae and India is the leading producer of LAC all around the world. It produces about 70% of the LAC all around the world. India में भी Chhattisgarh it is a leading producer of LAC. Generally जो ये LAC होता है वो bi-volatile होता है which means it has 2 generations in a year but highest quality LAC is uni-volatile which means 1 generation per year in nature. Next we have the process of LAC culture. Generally the process of LAC culture it starts with the selection of the host plant. Generally 3 main host plants are considered. One is the Palash, that is Butea monosperma. We have the Ber and we have the Kusum tree. Generally the Rangini strain it is raised on Palash and Ber and the Kusumi strain is reared on the Kusum tree. It forms the highest quality LAC. After the selection of the host plant, the next important step is of inoculation. Now during this process of inoculation, the brood LAC, which comprises of the LAC stick with live LAC insect, it is generally inoculated onto a tree either longitudinally, which is according to the length of the branch, either laterally, either in an interlaced form, either via a basket. Now the crawlers, they would start to climb onto the surface of the tree and while they will feed, they would start secreting a resin substance which would start forming an incrustation around them, which is often referred to as the cell. This would be the secretion of the resinous gland, which is responsible for the secretion of the LAC. Next is the process of growth and secretion. More the LAC insect would feed, more the resin would be secreted out continuously. This resin it would continue to build up around the branches of the tree, forming a thick coat of LAC. Now this thick coat of LAC it would be harvested after a period of about 6 to 8 months and would be referred to as the stick LAC. This stick LAC generally comprises of the dead remains of the insect, dust, wood residues, etc., which needs to be cleaned further. It would undergo processing and would form the seed lac, which would be crushed, refined, and washed with water. Then it would form the dust lac, and finally the shellac, which is the highest quality lac. So these are the important stages in the process of the lac culture. We're going to study about seed lac, dust lac later on in this entire chapter. Next is the life cycle of lac insect. It generally comprises of 4 important stages, that is the egg stage, the nymph stage, the pupal stage, and the adult stage. The kind of reproduction which is found in the lac insect, it is ovoviviparous, which means that the embryo, it is fully developed in eggs when they are generally laid, and the average fecundity is of 300 to 500 eggs. If you talk about the nymphal stage, the nymphs, which are generally formed after the hatching of the eggs, they are crimson red in color and are generally referred to as the crawlers. The process of the emergence of the crawlers in large number, it is referred to as the swarming. In apiculture, swarming is generally referred to the process of natural reproduction, whereas in the context of lac insect, it is referred to the process of the emergence of the crawlers in large numbers. Then the pupal stage is converted to the adult stage. The adult stage generally comprises of the male and the female, where both tend to produce the lac, but females, they are the chief producers of lac. The males, they are generally red in color, eyes are reduced, mouth parts are absent. They can be either winged or aterous, which means wingless. The females, they are generally pyriform shaped. Eyes are absent. Mouth part is of piercing and sucking type. Wings are absent and are the chief producers of lac. Generally, the resin glands, which are responsible for the secretion of lac, they are present throughout the body of insect except in the mouth parts, anus, and the breathing pores. Lac insect generally tends to prefer temperature of about 27 to 30 degrees Celsius with about 75 centimeter of rainfall. These are the ideal conditions. And generally 1 kilogram of lac consists of about 3 lakh lac insects, and for the inoculation of a single tree about 10 to 25 kilogram of brood is required. Besides this, we know that India is one of the major producer of lac all around the world. It contributes to about 70% of the lac production, The LAC crop is generally divided into two main strains, that is the Kusumi strain and the other is the Rangini strain. This Kusumi strain, it is reared only on the kusum tree, whereas the Rangini strain, it is generally reared on any other crop rather than the kusum tree. That is, it can be reared on palash or it can be reared on ber. Generally, this Kusumi strain, it is monovoltine, that means it has one generation in a year and is of high quality. It contributes to about 10% of the LAC which is produced in India. This Rangini strain, it contributes to about 70 to 80% of the LAC which is produced in India. Generally, this kusum tree, it undergoes pruning, whereas no pruning is done in palash as well as in ber. Generally, pruning, it is preferred to be done about 6 to 12 months prior to inoculation. This Kusumi strain is divided into two main types of crops, that is the Aghani and the Jetwi. And this Rangini strain is also divided into two main types of crops, that is the Katki and the Baisakhi. Now amongst these four, Baisakhi, it forms a major season. Next, we will divide all these subtypes into their starting time and their harvesting time. Generally, the duration of this Aghani crop, it is of 6 months, starting from February to June, July. Jetwi crop, it is also of 6 months, starting from June, July to January, February. This Katki crop, it is of 4-month duration, starting from June, July. Harvesting time is of October to November. Baisakhi crop, it is of 8-month duration, starting from October, November up to June, July. So amongst all these two strains, Rangini strain, it forms a major part, whereas Baisakhi strain, it forms a major part amongst the subtypes of the Kusumi strain and the Rangini strain. Highest quality LAC is of Kusumi strain. Besides all of these, there are some other terms which are associated with the LAC insect which one should know. That is the brood LAC, other is the stick LAC, then we have the seed LAC, then we have the dust LAC, and then we have the shellac. Now these terms, they have already been discussed earlier, but here we're going to know more about all of these terms. The raw LAC, which is generally encrusted on the twigs, and branches, which consists of live mother cells, is generally referred to as the brood LAC. This brood LAC is generally utilized by the farmers for the purpose of multiplication of the LAC insects. Next, we have the stick LAC. The LAC resin, which is attached to the twigs after the LAC insect has been removed, is generally referred to as the stick LAC. It is also referred to as the raw material from which the processed lac is generally made. It comprises of various insect debris or various impurities, dust, and the tree remains, which is further processed to form the seed lac. Now this stick lac, when we generally tend to crush it to remove the impurities, we sieve it and we wash with water. It is generally referred to as the seed lac. In short, we can say that when the impurities of the stick lac are generally removed by crushing the stick lac, sieving it, and washing with water, it is generally referred to as the seed lac. Now, when this seed lac it is further processed into very fine powder, it is called as the dust lac. When we do sieving of this dust lac, then molly meck is generally formed. Then at last we have the shellac. It is the purified and the refined form of lac, which is generally melted, filtered, and molded into flakes. Generally, if we consider about the mollic generally comprises of about 70% of shellac. There's another kind which is generally referred to as kiri. It comprises of about 50% of shellac. And if we consider about the lac itself, then the lac it comprises of about 68% of resin, 5 to 10% of wax, and 5 to 6% of the dye. There's another term which is called as the fungi. The stick which is generally obtained after the escape of lac, or we can say that the stick which is generally obtained after the swarming of larva, it is generally referred to as the fungi. This stick lac, it is generally the mature lac which is harvested. Whereas if we talk about the immature lac which is harvested, it is called as the fungi. So this is the main difference between the stick lac and the fungi. Both are the lac which are being harvested, but fungi comprises of the immature stages, whereas the stick lac comprises of the mature stages. Last but not the least, we should know about the predators of lac insect. First we have the white lac moth, which is Eublema amabilis. It belongs to the family of Noctuidae. Next we have the black moth, that is Holcocera pulveria, which belongs to Blastobacidae family. Besides this, we have Chrysoperla species. We have the mites like Tacardiophagous, Tacardiae, and Tetrasticus purpurea. These are the 4 major predators of lac insects, and among these we have the white lac moth, which is very important, and black lac moth, which is also very important. These two are commonly asked in the competitive exams. These predators of lac insect, they are responsible for causing about 30 to 35% losses in the production of the lac crop. Besides this, recently the name of Indian Institute of natural resonant gums, which is in Namkum, Ranchi. It has been changed to ICAR National Institute of Secondary Agriculture. This is very important, which is commonly asked in the exams. So that's all for today. I hope you liked the session. If you liked, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.